Hey family, happy Monday. This video is specifically for my tax pro friends that are uncredentialed. Okay, so that means you don't have an EA license, you don't have a CPA license, and you are not a tax attorney. Now, if you found this video and you're not a tax professional, but you're interested in getting your tax transcript, you can check out my blog at americasfavoriteea.com, which I'll leave the link down below in the description. And I have a blog post that walks you through the 3 ways that you can get your tax transcript. Okay? But again, this video today is going to be specifically for my uncredentialed tax professionals. So in today's video, we're going over Form 8821, which is the Tax Information Authorization Form. I get questions all the time, literally in my inbox and email from tax professionals that want to start helping taxpayers, want to lean towards representation work, but they aren't credentialed yet. And they ask me, Timalyn, how can I get the taxpayers information like their transcripts if I can't file a Form 2848? If you're not aware of it, Form 2848 is a tax power of attorney and it gives you a little more power than this form. Okay. So with that, you can actually represent taxpayers before the IRS. But with the 8821, you can still get some information and you can still help them. So let's get right into it, right? Let's look at what the 8821 allows you to do. Let's look at how to fill it out. And then let's talk about how you're going to send it in. First things first, this is a disclaimer. Any information in this is not legally binding. It does not make you my client. And you can't come back and say, well, Timlin said, because there are going to be certain parts of the form that I'm going to talk about, but not actually fill out. Now, if you're interested in me walking you all the way through it, you can become one of my clients and join one of my communities. But right here, this free video is just to point you in the right direction. Okay. So the 8821 is going to authorize an individual, corporation, firm, organization, or partnership that the taxpayer designates to inspect and or receive confidential information. All right, so what does that look like? Let's say we have a taxpayer. Excuse me. Taxpayer's name is going to be Billy Bob Horton, okay? Billy Bob's going to live at 1234 Big Billy Lane. They're going to live in, let's see, I'll just put in where I was born, Terre Haute, Indiana. Let's put in 47804. All right. Terre Haute, I can see them having some Billy Bobs. So once you fill out the name, address of the taxpayer, you want to make sure that you have their social security number. So for Billy Bob, we're going to put 666 66 66 66. All right. Daytime telephone number. We'll put his number as 812-234-2747. All right. No plan number applicable here. Now, for you, the designee, there can actually be two. So if you have another tax professional in your office that you need to reach out to get the information, you can add them here as well. But for right now, let's just say that it's me, and we're going to have Timalyn S. Bowens, office 101 North 7th Street, and that is my real office address if you want to send me a gift because you think this video is so amazing and helped you out, right? Now, I'm not going to put my real CAF number here, but what the CAF number does is goes to the central authorized, blah. Let me go back. Central authorized system, filing system. And what they do, they keep this on file and it shows that you're actually authorized to get information about this taxpayer for the specific items that we have down here. Now, if you don't have a CAF number, you can leave this blank. One will be assigned to you once this arrives with the CAF unit, all right? And you'll receive that in the mail. But let me see. This space also needs to be filled out if you're doing a 2848, okay? Because it stays on file. And if you are receiving any notices, communication, if the client wants you to do that, you'll check that box. And when the CAF unit actually processes this, then you'll start to receive the same letters that the taxpayer is going to receive. All right. You want to make sure that you have your PTIN here, which any paid tax professional should have a PTIN. So if you don't have one, my friend, you need to go apply for that before even trying to do this. There's no way around it. That's what the IRS says. If you're being paid to do any type of tax preparation, you have to have a P10. So it starts with a P. Am I going to put my real one here? No, I'm not. So I don't want you all signing tax returns as me, right? Then you're going to also do the fax number, which I don't know off the top of my head. There are a lot of e-services now where you can do this because what happens is when you actually call on the phone, you're going to have to be able to fax this over to the IRS if it hasn't been processed by the CAF unit yet, because it's not going to pop up on their computer. So you'll fax this over to whoever you're talking to, and then you can request the information that you need. All right. So let's say you use a software like Pitbull Tax Help software to help you analyze different data. You'll need to check this box. It says by checking here, I authorize access to my IRS records via an intermediate service provider. So they're not going to send you these transcripts in the mail. They're going to send them to your what's called SOR, which is your secure mailbox on the IRS site. Once they do that, you can access them directly on the site, or if you use a software like Tax Help software or Pitbull, you can pull them from your SOR and view them on there, which I highly recommend. I personally use Pitbull. All right. Now, keep in mind, this form is going to allow you to get information like a tax return transcript, wage and income transcripts, but it does not authorize you to speak on the taxpayer's behalf. It does not allow you to execute a request to allow disclosure of return or return information to a third party. All right, so the information you get, you have to keep unless you're getting it for the taxpayer. And it does not allow you to advocate any position regarding federal tax laws. This is only giving you permission to receive the data. So let's say you needed tax transcripts. The tax matter would be income. You're going to put whatever tax return the taxpayer would be or should have been filing, right? Because you can pull transcripts and it'll show you that no return has been filed. So you would still need to put 1040 here so they know to look at the account for 1040s. Whatever tax year or period, it could be years or periods that you're authorized for, you would want to put in here. So let's say for me, when I retain a client for 2848, I always go at least 10 years back. So I'd be looking at 2013, all the way through like 2025, right? Specific tax matters here, I would put NA because you don't want to limit yourself. If there is something more specific and that's the only thing the taxpayer wants you to look at, you can put that here. All right. If the tax information or authorization is for a specific use not recorded on the CAF, check this box. That means your person will not pass it along. One moment, please. Let me make sure I check something. All right. Because I think I actually just said that incorrectly. All right. So specific use not recorded, and I apologize. Specific use not recorded would be like if you have a request to disclose information to a loan company or an educational institution like a college, right? Request to disclose information to federal or state agency investigators for background checks. All right, that's not on here either. Um, or request for information regarding items such as W-2s, W-4s, which W-4 you can get whatever you filled out from your employer. W-7s, 843s, which 843s are to request a claim for refund or request for abatement. I talk about that on my podcast, Tax Relief with Timalyn Bowens, how to request that abatement. Something in the 1099 series, like those types of things are not on there. So that's when you would check that box. I apologize. All right. So if there was somebody else on here, okay, the IRS will automatically revoke all prior tax information authorizations on file unless you check the line 5 box and attach a copy of the tax authorization form. All right. So let's say I know this client had somebody else that was authorized to pull their transcripts. When I submit this to the IRS, it's going to automatically bump them. If I don't want that person to get bumped, I'm going to check this box and also provide a copy of their 8821. Now, typically with me, like I said, I'm filling out the 2848. If somebody else is on there and I'm coming on now, that means they didn't do their job adequately. So I want them to get bumped off, right? This part is what makes the whole return valid. You need to make sure that the taxpayer actually signs and dates this form, and the name needs to be printed here as well. If there is an organization that they are representing and it is not for themselves, you also want to make sure that you have their title there. So, again, just to recap, you cannot negotiate anything on behalf of the taxpayer with this form. However, you can pull their tax transcripts, which includes the tax return. You can see if they didn't file a tax return for that year. You also can see what type of penalties they have on their account. You can get their wage and income transcripts in case they can't find their W-2s or other information. That will allow you to file the federal tax return. Okay. So this form really, really does come in handy for tax professionals that are not credentialed, but yet they want to begin the process of helping their client with tax issues. So if you're interested in representation work where you step in on behalf of the client and handle IRS problems, please subscribe to this YouTube channel, but also connect with me elsewhere on social media because I share more information for tax professionals that want to do representation on LinkedIn and also on my website, americasfavoriteea.com. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out and leave me a comment down below if you found this video helpful. Have a great day.